Welcome to the NFL Saturday Podcast. This is Amp.
And I'm Scotty.
And we're here to catch you up on fantasy football for the week. And we'll have some fun along the way.
Last time,
I like how you changed your inflection, like how you say the words, because you're trying to like match what I do.
Mostly I was trying not to laugh.
Okay, fair. Yeah, for people listening, we did like 3 takes of that because I kept like starting right when he was trying to talk on accident. It was pretty funny.
Whoops. All right, let's rock and roll.
Well, today we are going to talk about the Super Bowl and also the results of the conference championship games, because I think there's some interesting stuff we can talk about in those games.
Definitely.
But first, Scotty, are you ready for your fun fact of the day?
Ooh, I'm not sure I can handle it, but let's go. Let's give it a shot.
I think you can, because you actually did mention this right before we got here, that the Eagles and the Chiefs have the exact same amount of points leading up to the Super Bowl. They both have 546 total points scored, which is insane. And
that's a high number, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very high, but also it's just crazy that they both have the same, because it's like, the narrative now is whoever wins gets more points on the season. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
This is an interesting, because you didn't answer this question. Are they the highest scoring? Is that the number one total?
I would imagine.
Because I know that they were tied, but it doesn't say they were tied for first. Ooh, interesting.
That's a good point. But I would imagine they are.
I would have to imagine they are too, but
just because the playoffs too.
But they played one less game than a couple other teams, you know.
Yeah, no, it does look like they have the most. Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I guess for just the Niners, because the Bengals didn't play that one game, so it would just be the Niners that played more games. This is regular season though. But in the regular season, they had the most too. They had the highest.
And they had high-scoring games in the postseason.
Yeah, I'd imagine. And Niners are like pretty. Yeah, they're like 5th on the list, and they didn't score like anything last week. So yeah, I think they're definitely 1 and 2. I would be surprised if they're not. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
It is definitely interesting. I'm gonna do some quick maths.
Ooh, okay.
546 divided by 19. They scored an average of 28.7 points per game, including the playoffs. 28 points per game average over a season is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's pretty crazy, especially because the Eagles' defense is so good. You wouldn't expect their offense to like need to put up that many points. So it's pretty crazy.
But you know what? That offense is like a well-oiled machine. When Hurts is hitting, and the rest of the team like feeds off of him. So like when he's in the zone, you can just tell that everyone else is as well.
Yeah, it's his energy. He just has. I think he has a really good mentality, and he's really mature for his age. Like he's just a good leader. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then obviously Mahomes is Mahomes. So that's
dude is a beast.
We'll definitely talk about all the narratives in that game later, because I wrote down a bunch of narratives that I think a lot of them will surprise you that you definitely didn't know. So
ooh, I like a good surprise. Maybe I didn't know. Maybe I've been doing some research.
No, there's definitely one that you didn't know. At least one you didn't know. But you probably did do some research, so you probably know most of them. But yeah, there's definitely one you don't know, and maybe 2, I would say.
Dang it.
Anyway, though.
Sorry.
Are you... what happened?
Dang it. I tried to extend on your fun fact by making fun of the Broncos, because I was going to make fun of the comparison of the average points per game between the Eagles and the Broncos, who I couldn't find it. No, they scored an average of like 15 points a game.
You know, I think I can find it.
I know it was a super low number, but I don't... Dang, how do you know that?
They scored 287 points. So divide that by 17. is 16.9.
280. Dang, they averaged less. That's crazy.
That's so funny.
11 points per, almost 12 points per game is like a huge difference on average.
Yeah. That's
sounds like just two touchdowns, but that's still, it's a lofty goal. All right, Broncos suck, Eagles rule. That was my point. There's your Mr. Unlimited. They paid him $500 million and he averaged less than 17 points a game over an entire season.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but there's actually a funnier one.
Oh no!
But first, I guess we should talk about our betting challenge.
Ooh, you're kicking my ass.
I was gonna say that, but in the last 3 days, I've lost 32K, so I'm at 75K now.
You're back down to 75K.
Yeah, I was at 108K.
Makes me happy.
So,
holy shit! You've gone 1 for your last 9. Oh no!
Yeah, exactly. No. Exactly.
Dang.
So it's been brutal.
But I think I'm also 1 for my last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm 1 for my last 14. So
the ones today that were pretty brutal, I will say. There was one game that I bet the over on how many kills there would be, and there was I needed 30 kills, and there were 20 kills in the first 16 minutes of the game, and
Jesus.
then no kills happened for the next 10 minutes.
How in the
what the heck?
20 kills by 16 minutes is huge.
Yeah, it was.
I've seen games where I got to 16 minutes and there hadn't been any kills yet.
Exactly. And we were talking about League of Legends, by the way, not football.
Oh. That would be a crazy game. That would have to be a virtual reality version of football. They commit murder.
The league or something.
That's really funny that we had that conversation without telling everybody else that we were talking about League of Legends.
What sport we were talking about?
We just have to commit murder.
We're talking about a video game? Yeah.
Jesus, that's actually funny.
Well, anyway, I guess it's time for your
Mr. Unlimited
moment of the week. And that is that the team that wins the Super Bowl will have more wins in Arizona than Arizona had this year in Arizona.
So did Arizona go unwin?
The Cardinals
0 wins at home?
Did win 1 game at home this year. But both the Eagles and the Chiefs beat the Cardinals in Arizona this year.
No shot.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
So whoever wins,
they're gonna have 2 wins in Arizona.
No shot. What? That can't be real. That's the crazy. That should have been the fun fact. Holy shit! That's actually hilarious. No shot.
Yep, it was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
There couldn't have been, because no one else would have lost all their home games. That's not possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the Cardinals are notorious for losing at home for some reason. I don't know. The last 3 years they've lost so many games at home, so I don't know what it is, but
and you know what? That's a funny contrast, because after going 54 years without the Super Bowl host being won by the team who actually plays there, we just had back-to-back seasons with Tampa Bay and LA where the Super Bowl winner played in that stadium. Then you go to the complete opposite, where the Super Bowl was being hosted by a team that won 1 game in that stadium. That's wild. Yeah. What the hell?
I know.
I can't get over that. That's actually really funny. Good for you. I don't even know how you thought of that. Jesus.
Yeah, I just saw it, and I've been doing this thing where I'll save posts or something if it's funny enough to be in the episode. And yeah, that one was pretty funny.
That's 100%.
I obviously looked it up too, because I had the double check, because the thing I heard was that I just heard the first part that whichever team wins will have more wins. So I wanted to look it up to see if they had 0 wins or they both played in Arizona, and they both played in Arizona, which is just insane.
Jeez. I wonder if that would have been true. Like what if it was San Francisco versus Cincinnati? Did they also play in Arizona?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Who can find it faster?
Let's see. Probably me.
Did San
They
Francisco
didn't play
Arizona?
Bengals. San Francisco did, obviously, and
Because they're in the
San Francisco
division,
beat them.
correct?
Yeah, but the
Twice. Yeah.
Bengals didn't.
Okay. So the
yeah.
Cardinals were screwed basically no matter what.
Yeah.
Because the Niners, I believe that the NFC would have, no matter who represented the NFC, would have beaten whoever represented the AFC. Is my thoughts on that.
That's your prediction. And we'll see, I guess.
That's not a jinxy prediction. I didn't even. I just said the
it's
NFC would
not
beat the
jinxy.
AFC. I don't think that counts. Okay.
No matter what happens, too, I'm happy with how the season went.
You're content.
I think they proved themselves. They have a huge future. I think I even saw that they have Tampa Bay's 2024 first round pick somehow. So if that's true, that would be really funny that we have 2 first round picks this year with the Saints and then 2 first round picks next year with the Bucks. Especially
and potentially a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm very excited. I guess we should talk about the conference championship games first, though, because
we can.
I think we have some crazy stuff that happened. I guess which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about
I think
NFC or
we
AFC?
we should get rid of the game that was over the earliest.
Okay, so
and I agree.
Yeah, yeah. We can talk about the Eagles versus the Niners then.
Correct.
And it ended up being a complete blowout. But
what was the final score? 31-7, correct?
Yeah, 31-7. And I think we beat the Giants 38-7 the week before.
Yeah, so if you hold the Chiefs to 7, you set some kind of record, right?
Some weird...
21 points allowed over the course of the playoffs would probably be some sort of record.
That one year, the Bears that one dominant year.
Or the Ravens in 2000.
Yeah.
That would be... We'll look that up later.
Yeah.
That sounds like a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the... I guess I forgot to mention, we probably won't record an episode next week. Just take the week off for the Super Bowl and then come back after. So maybe a fun fact afterwards to see if the Eagles do get that record or who has that record. We'll see. But
excited either way.
Yeah, I'm excited too. That game ended up being a complete blowout, but I was actually scared in the beginning.
The first quarter was like, because they scored instantly. It was 7-0, and like it was 7-0 in like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, this is exactly what I expected. Here we go. And then they didn't score again for like another 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, and even on the scoring drive, they had that controversial play where the Niners didn't challenge it.
Are we calling that controversial?
I mean, it's not controversial because the Eagles were smart to rush up to the line and snap it, but I would say it's more of the Niners not challenging it. That was kind of dumb. I feel like when you see a player doing that, like
the alarm bell should go off. Why is he so frantic? Why is he acting like that? Like,
and it was a 4th and 3. Like, I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
I personally think the San Francisco fans are going to be like, the referees should have just seen it. Our coaches shouldn't have to challenge an obvious play. Like, he clearly didn't catch it. Why wouldn't the referees see that? You know they're going to be salty and blame somebody else.
But, I mean, even the Eagles got that later, and we challenged it and then got the turnover on the Brock Purdy sack. So,
yeah, and what was the one a couple weeks ago where, the player... Who was playing? Remember they were driving down the field to do a Hail Mary at the end of the game? The San Francisco game versus Dallas. And Schultz caught it but only like lazily put one foot down. They reviewed that and brought it back, but that was under 2 minutes. So different, but everyone knew he didn't catch it. You could see all the coaches on the sideline like calling, like throwing their hands like he didn't catch it.
Run, go, hurry play.
It blows my mind that not one person on that San Francisco sideline had a question about that catch. Like, no one was like, you know what, we should look at that.
Even when I saw it, I was like, oh crap, was that a catch or not? I can't tell. And the announcers were saying like, oh my God, what a catch. And they're like, oh, that's definitely a catch. But then like, I was still a little skeptical because the way he like twisted, the ball kind of got close to the ground and obviously ended up hitting the ground.
The whole
but
yeah. I remember I was out, so I was kind of watching it on my phone.
yeah.
So I already have like a super small screen. I remember just being hyped. Like it looked like he caught it. The referee ran over and put his hands to signal the catch, and they were running up to snap the next play, and I was like, holy shit, nice catch. But it wasn't until like a couple hours later that I was like watching the replays, and I was like, wait a second, he didn't catch that.
He didn't catch it.
I was like, holy shit, he definitely did not. It definitely rolls around on the ground, and he lost possession while he was sliding. Oh
funny.
my god! I mean, what a break for the Eagles. But you guys still erase that touchdown or whatever. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, erase that score," and it still would have been 24-7. I disagree because the field position. San Francisco
Also,
would have been like at what,
scared.
midfield or something.
I mean, another thing too is that people are forgetting was it was 7-7 until like a minute 30 left in the second quarter. Like
Yeah, you guys scored and then turned it
scary.
over and scored again like right before halftime. Correct.
Yeah, and it was 7-0 for a while, and then Christian McCaffrey just went like complete beast mode on that one touchdown.
Oh, that one touchdown was insane by him.
Yeah, I was definitely scared until like halftime, and then I think it was really the Fletcher Cox sack that kind of sealed the deal, because after Josh Johnson, sorry, Fletcher Cox, it was Ndamukong Suh, I think. Yeah, I think it was an Ndamukong Suh actually. That he's our third string defensive tackle right now, and he like coming in on rotation, and he ended up sacking Josh Johnson and gave him a concussion. So they had like literally no quarterback. Were you like aware that Christian McCaffrey was their third quarterback on the roster?
Yeah, he was basically like the emergency QB if they needed it or something.
And then Kyle Juszczyk was the fourth emergency one. Obviously they kind of came back with Purdy, but he was useless, and I think it was really dumb. Like I think it would have been much more interesting if they had like McCaffrey back there with like Elijah Mitchell running it. But I don't know. It was a weird game because it seemed like the Niners coaching staff gave up almost. Like they were just like, no, we're okay. It's going to be okay. We just got to keep doing the same thing, even though our quarterback can't throw it. Like, I don't know. It was dumb.
I agree. It was a very weird. I almost want to agree with you because they didn't change their approach at all, given all the different things that changed throughout the game that you think would have been like, okay, let's adapt to the situation and figure out a way that we could still move the ball. And they were just kind of like, nope, we're content just to run the clock out and see you next year. Like, what are you talking about? I agree. Very, very weird.
I do agree. Yeah. And the one thing that I felt really positively about was the Eagles defense looked unstoppable even before Purdy got hurt. Like, they were just like completely destroying the Niners offensive line, rushing him a ton. And I felt like they looked unstoppable even before Purdy got hurt. And obviously the tackling wasn't the best on the McCaffrey touchdown, but I mean, McCaffrey's also just a beast. So I think they learned their lesson about wrapping him up. And
I never understood that when they attempt like the shoulder tackle. Like they just want to hit him really hard and be like, oh, I knocked him down. Like, who cares? Like, we know you can knock him down, but that's not the point. Just put him on the ground.
Exactly.
The whole thing was very weird to me.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing I wanted to mention was I felt like the Fox News, I think it was Fox News broadcast. Sorry, not Fox News. Was it Fox Sports? Fox Sports broadcast. It's very different.
You lost me.
Broadcast. The Fox Sports broadcast was pretty bad overall. Like, I know you didn't really see it because the Devontae Smith catch, it was like when you're watching the game, they didn't show any angle from the side where the ball would have been hitting the ground. So it was like, I kind of understand why they didn't challenge it, but I felt like because like everything that was going on, you probably should have challenged it. but they didn't have any replay. Even like they scored a touchdown and went to commercial break, and they didn't show that angle where you clearly see the ball go out until after the commercial break. So it was like one of those things where it's like, how did you miss that? Like you're watching, especially whoever's directing the episode sees all the cameras on the screen. They know they have a camera there. I mean, I know it's hard to see 25 different cameras, but they're like professionals. Like you'd think they'd be able to know that camera exists.
I agree. The other thing is, wouldn't the booth, like the staff, you might have just said this, they have access to like every camera angle. Somebody upstairs who could make a phone call down to the team would have been able to see all the angles and just kind of fell asleep at the wheel. We're saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue what happened. Like it seems embarrassing. And then later on, that we obviously, I don't know if we joked about this earlier in the episode, but we might have done it before we went live. But it was the punt that hit the wire, and they had no camera that could actually see the wire. So you clearly see the ball like get redirected, but they just did not change it. They were like, we can't see the wire, so it doesn't count. Which I just think is ridiculous. So, yeah, that sucks.
Would that sort of been like when the punters hit it so high it hits that big ass TV in the middle of the field, and they're just like, well, it's there, like just don't aim for it. It could have just been like one of those.
Now, I think, right? Like I
haven't seen it.
You re-kick it.
Really? I haven't seen that in a while. Like that's
what I was expecting, was that they were going to re-kick it, and there's not really much harm lost when they re-kick it. Like you just re-kick it. Like you're not losing out. But if they go with like, we can't see the wire, then it's like a 25-yard punt or something. So it's like, what the heck? What's going on?
Like the common sense side of it as well. You can't literally see the wire, but if you see the ball all of a sudden change direction in a location where a wire might be, that logic leap isn't too great. You should just admit, I probably hit the wire. Let's just re-kick it. Like, why not?
Yeah, it's literally like, I know it's the Eagles, but I promise there's no birds up there, okay? Like, there's no eagles flying around above the stadium.
Oh, that just reminded me, the freaking Rocky statue curse, and Travis Kelce put out like a tweet or something like begging the Chiefs fans, do not touch the statue, and definitely do not put my jersey on the statue. And then a picture came out yesterday where someone put a red T-shirt on the Rocky statue that says "Let's go Chiefs," but it was probably an Eagles fan.
Yeah, it was probably an Eagles. That's what I'm wondering. Like, how is it
hilarious.
Just the Eagles fans doing it? I mean,
every time
funny anyway. Yeah. It was like a super janky one though too.
It was like a Walmart T-shirt with like Sharpie. Like it wasn't like it was the Eagles. It was an Eagles fan for sure. It'd be funny if it was the Eagles every week. Somebody was just out there putting the opponent's jerseys on the statue every single week.
Yeah, just to try to curse like the reverse jinxes.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. That's really funny. Well, right. I guess, do you want to talk about the other game then? The other conference?
Oh, the other game is too heartbreaking, man. I know from a fantasy standpoint you're upset. I know you needed the Bengals to win.
Yeah, for my NFL playoff challenge. And then I don't think I would have won anyway because Kelce was getting too many points. And
fair enough.
I think even if it was Eagles Bengals, I think having Kelce the first 3 weeks and then swapping tight ends would have been like the highest scoring play. So I don't think it would have mattered. But that said, I mean, it was a heartbreaker for Bengals fans.
For one in particular, I think.
Yeah, for one in particular. I was in a group chat with Troy, and we were all talking about the game. And then as soon as that last play happened, no one talked in the group chat for 2 days. It was
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
It was brutal. It was like everyone just knew, like, oh yeah, we need to like just shut up because it was so brutal.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely a diehard Bengals fan. he probably didn't even when 2 days passed and it came up again, he probably still wasn't ready to talk.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I don't think he was. Yeah, I don't think he's ready now.
I
Yeah,
was very surprised by that game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, because as soon as the game was over, the narrative immediately became that the Philadelphia Eagles defense and rush attack is too strong. Kansas City won't be able to stop it.
Yeah.
So if it was so obvious that the Chiefs' rush defense was so poor, why did Joe Mixon only rush the ball 7 times? Why didn't they?
I don't know.
I was so surprised that the game plan wasn't just to run it down their throats. Everyone knows their rush defense sucks. So why didn't they?
I think it was really just because they got down so much early, and they probably just felt like they had to throw it. And
yeah,
that was
what was
the thing.
it? 10 nothing.
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
first quarter, I think.
Yeah, but I think they were up by like 13 or 10, like into the second half.
Point.
Yeah, and it just felt like the game overall, like the Bengals were going to end up winning it. Like the way it was going, like they came back. They were getting screwed over by the refs, but it didn't matter because they were still holding the Chiefs defensively. I mean, you saw that play. It was like, I don't even remember. I remember one of the penalties. It was, or like they stopped the play before it, but they let them run the whole play. And it was like
they ran the whole play on third down. The Bengals stopped them, and then they came out and were like, "Oh, there was something. That play didn't count."
Yeah, the ref like called a penalty before the play started or something.
It was like 15 seconds after the play was over that we found that out. It wasn't like an immediate where like all of a sudden the whistles blew. They had like a conversation, then they came back out and were like, "Oh yeah, that didn't count." Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and that was
the whole
thing.
Thing was janky.
Thankfully, none of those penalties mattered. Like the Bengals stopped the Chiefs both times, and so they didn't lead to points for the Chiefs. But then the Bengals couldn't drive down the field. Burrow got sacked twice, I think, on the last drive, and then they punted it to KC, and then we all saw that terrible penalty by the Bengals. I mean,
watching it live, I was like ripping my hair out.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Even as you're watching him chasing him, I was screaming like, "Don't push him! Don't push him!"
Yeah.
And then sure enough, like you could see it developing that he's gonna you could see like he's gonna catch up to him right as he gets to the sideline. I hope he doesn't do something stupid.
Yeah,
and then
even in the background of the shot, you see like people on the staff like holding their heads and like no, and like literally a player next to him like what are no and it's just like I just can't believe it. Like it was so, I don't know, it's a frustrating way to end the season and really sucks. And I think the field goal may have been made anyway because it would have been like a 50 something yard field goal, like 57 I think they said. And
the other side of that. The other side of that argument is there were still 8 seconds left. They did technically have a sliver of time to potentially gain a couple more yards, get out of bounds, and kick it anyway.
Timeouts though, so it would have been. Pretty
you know how they like snap it and just like immediately throw it like 2 or 3 yards up the field to a guy on the sideline. You know Mahomes' magic. I just felt like they would have done that. So who knows if they get those yards anyway? But that being said, the way his teammates acted towards him after was appalling.
Oh yeah.
There's literally videos of him like head in hands, basically crying, walking into the locker room, and his teammates walking behind him like, "Why the fuck did you push him?" Oh, excuse my language. "Why did you push him, man? Why would you do that? You cost us the game. Like, what were you thinking?" And this is like 5-10 minutes after. Like, just let the dude like be on his own and talk to him later. Like, they're essentially bullying him at that point. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was pretty hard to watch some of the reactions. Obviously,
it was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the guy made a stupid mistake. It's very hard to watch if you are a Bengals fan. But that said, it's still your teammate. Like that's supposed. How are you going to keep him on the team if Like after you did that, like after you like just said, "What the hell were you thinking?" Like how are you going to keep him on the team? Like, I just don't see that happening.
You're
Like the
talking about the
morale is
player
going to be
who
shot.
the player who made the mistake, or the player who
The
was
player who
attacking
made the
him?
mistake is gonna. I mean, but at the same time, it's like both of them too. Like they both. That's just so bad for the morale of the team. Like
I agree. People might have a hard time emotionally rallying around this player when they know that's the kind of stuff he does on
Yeah.
both sides. How do you
Yeah.
support a guy who you know literally bullied somebody at their lowest moment, and how do you support someone who was selfish enough that he just wanted to hit the quarterback so bad that he cost his team the game? Like,
yeah.
both players, there's an argument for, they wouldn't be wanted in that locker room anymore. And it's brutal to say because it's
Yeah.
just one play and it's a heat of the moment, super emotional. They may just be like best bros now and they're laughing and playing golf somewhere. Like, hey, sorry, I got caught up in the moment. We're all good. But we don't know that that's happening. They might hate each
Yeah.
other. You may never forgive him because that was his one chance at a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I would love to get in their heads and figure out what's going on, but we'll never
Yeah.
know.
Pretty brutal. I mean, I know it's a
Yeah.
violent sport. People get carried away. But
Yeah, the
that
adrenaline.
was an egregious one too. Like that was like
For
5
sure.
yards out of bounds.
Yeah, I know there's bang bang plays where like sometimes their foot hasn't touched down yet, so you could still give him that little shove. But he had both feet in the white already, like both
And it
feet
was, like,
established down
Very
in
far
the
in the white
chalk
too.
for sure.
It
Like
was,
it
halfway.
was not one of those bang. When I watched it in slow motion, I was like, oh, maybe it was close. Maybe we could take it easy on him. But then they played the slow motion version, and you see that he's like fully like halfway through the solid white line with both feet down.
Yeah.
Not even turned up field anymore, like fully turned into the out of bounds. Like clearly that's where he was going. I don't think there's an excuse that the player who made the hit can make where we're like, oh, I can see your side of it. Like he's just wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, No, I definitely agree.
What a way to end a game, though, because up until that point, it was a hard fought game. It was like 10-0,
yeah.
then it was 10-3, then it was like 13-3, and then it was 13-6, and then at that point, like you said, it really felt like even though the Bengals were up against it in terms of the comeback, the referees, whatever, I did personally think sitting there watching the game that they had it. I 100% thought this is the Bengals game. They're going to come back. They're going to win at the last second. They're going to hit that last second field goal to win the game. And it looked like that's exactly how it was going.
Yeah.
And then what? Turnover, right? Didn't they throw like an interception?
Oh yeah, it was a pick. It was like a deep shot pick. That's what it was. You're right. Yeah.
And then after, Oh, let me see. Oh no.
It was like a throw to
correct.
T. Higgins, and it was like a huge.
So there was an interception, but
Yeah.
then it went 9 plays punt, Bengals punt, and then the Chiefs drove
okay.
down for the field goal. So the interception didn't immediately
right.
lead to points. I'm looking at it now. But
Gotcha.
still, that interception, the interception was at the 45-yard line on the Bengals' own half. So they were at decent field position, basically midfield. Only a couple more plays away from a potential field goal. That changes the momentum, sort of takes the energy and the adrenaline dump, because like you thought that was the drive where you were going to get it, and then at that point you're just like, well, we're going to lose now, and then you get the ball back, but your energy's already depleted. You don't have like the motivation to go out there. I don't know how they think mentally, but that would really affect me, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I know, I agree. I think it was a pretty rough way to end the game. It was kind of crazy that it was so defensive. I was expecting a lot more offense.
Oh my god, I was expecting so many points. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every time they play, we expect fireworks.
Yeah.
Every time.
I was kind of hesitant on this one, but I think it is funny because you said the game would be like 3 points difference, and you thought the Bengals were going to win. And I thought the Bengals were going to win by 13, but I thought they would only score like 26 points. And so overall,
we were pretty much all around it.
Yeah, we were pretty much all around it.
If you combine our predictions, we nailed it.
Exactly. You thought it would be a close game, and I thought it would be a low scoring game. So there we go.
We were both wrong about who would eventually come out the victor, but
yeah, but that's the details. Who cares about those?
who cares about like the ultimate bottom line? But I think unless you lived in Kansas City, I feel like didn't it? To me, the vibe was like most people thought that the Bengals would win. I think.
Yeah,
that's
I would
the
think
feeling
so.
I got.
That's a feeling I got. Yeah, I got that too. Well, I guess we've probably talked enough about the conference championship game, so we can move on to the Super Bowl. Are you ready for some interesting facts?
Am I ready for some interesting Super Bowl facts? Are you ready for an interesting Super Bowl fact?
I will be ready for it after I tell you this first one, because I think we should start.
We probably have the same one.
Is that this was the first Super Bowl with 2 starting black quarterbacks?
Yes, I did. I did read that. Hard to believe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fact check it, but that's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Definitely about time. I think that was the one position that was kind of gatekeeped a lot of time, because you do need to like be trained at such an early age, and it's the one position that is like a barrier to entry a lot of the times. Like,
are you sort of saying that quarterbacks are mostly white? Like,
yeah, because
coaches are mostly white, and
yeah,
I understand.
Because a lot of it is the training early on, and like obviously you need to put in the work, and you need to be really talented and have the.
But you also have to have.
But
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like the training and
the resources, correct?
Yeah, the resources. Because I mean, if you think about it, like think about the Manning brothers, like they
the training camps and the private schools and the private coaches, and they have like full teams of people surrounding them, teaching them how to throw the ball and read the defense and stuff. Like, so I agree, but I don't agree. I agree with what you're saying. But I that's not to say that there aren't like a ton of very athletic and capable quarterbacks of the minority. Like, obviously there are a lot out there that are very, very good, up and coming as well, currently in the league. What is Tua? He's like Hawaiian.
I guess he's Hawaiian.
So that's technically still like American, but
yeah. I mean all the
is that white?
American,
right.
No,
that's not what I meant. I meant white.
Yeah, he's not white. Well, I'm not exactly sure his ethnicity. I don't know. He might be like partially black. He might be fully black.
Right.
But Hawaiians usually like a lot of Asian descendants too. Samoan.
That's true. Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, and a lot of different races in Hawaii.
True.
What about
anyway? that went off in a direction I wasn't expecting. My fault.
No worries.
But I do agree that it's very exciting to have the first Super Bowl duel as such. Mm-hmm. I think it's exciting.
Yeah. Was there any fun fact that you had, or not? Any like stat that you wanted to bring up, or narrative?
There was a stat that Tom Brady in his career has played in 18% of Super Bowls.
Oh, what the heck?
because he didn't win them all, but he made so many Super Bowls in his 23-year career that out of 57 he played in, I think they said he was in 18% of the total Super Bowls that have ever been played. Something like that. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That's insane.
It's like awesome. That translates to like 11. I don't think he played. He might have played in 11 Super Bowls because he won 7, and he definitely didn't win them all. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Definitely.
Anyway,
yeah. Well, I guess we can move into some of the other narratives. I guess probably the biggest one is Andy Reid, and revolves around Andy Reid, who obviously coached the Eagles for many years, had many successful seasons, but never won that Super Bowl until he moved to Kansas City. But did you know that Nick Sirianni also coached the Chiefs and was actually let go when Andy Reid's coaching staff came in? So it's a double revenge.
It's super funny. Like, you fired me, I'm going to beat you in the Super Bowl. What's up?
Exactly.
That revenge arc. How long has it been? Like 5 years? 4 years?
I think it's been a little longer, because I think it was also first year was with Alex Smith too, right? And how many years has Mahomes? Mahomes has been quarterback for 4 years at least, right?
4 or 5, right?
4 or 5?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting to see the coaching, because I do feel like they're two of the coaches. Andrew Reid, I think, is possibly the best coach in the NFL. But I do think Nick Sirianni is a good coach, and I think he's very creative with some of the play calling, which Andy Reid is definitely known for. So I'm very curious to see what kind of creativity they bring. And yeah, we'll definitely see. But
I think the Eagles are the coaching staff, I'll say, they're more analytical, take like a crazy chance just because the math might agree with it, like going for it on 4th downs at midfield, or going for a 2-point conversion even though the game is tied, like crazy stuff like that. And I think those bold decisions where you have to like really put it on the line, if you get those right, you simply win games. And he's not afraid to take those chances. I think, even though he's younger in his career, I think Nick Sirianni is going to outclass Mr. Old Andy Reid. I don't know what the result of the game is going to be, but I think after the game, we're going to say Sirianni was the better coach in that game. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to say too much to jinx it, because that doesn't affect the result of the game. The better coach can lose. I don't want to say too much. I just think that we'll be more impressed with his decisions and the play calls he makes, whatever, this, that, the other. I don't think that's a stretch either. I think he's been impressive so far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think he's definitely been very impressive. I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, they've had pretty easy, like, wins in the second half. So they've thrown in some, like, wrench plays, and I feel like it's just to, like, be a mind game for the Super Bowl. Like, they did that, like, 4th and 1, like, trick play where they, like, tossed it out. And I feel like that was just to, like, mess with the heads of whoever they play in the Super Bowl. And I don't know. I think it was really funny, but we'll see. I mean, I'm very curious what kind of plays they're going to draw up. I think it's going to be a good chess match. I do think, I'm hoping obviously that Nick Sirianni pulls through, and I think he will. I mean, I think it is also about the talent. Like, the Eagles are just stacked at every position right now, so that's kind of what I'm thinking will help Nick Sirianni, because he has like more chess pieces, you know. Like, Andy Reid has a bunch of pawns and he has a bunch of rooks. So a little chess reference that I don't think you understood, but hey.
No, I know. The pawn can't move for shit, and the rook can move anywhere it wants, basically. No, it has to go in a straight line, but okay. We don't have to get into the details for the metaphor to apply.
Details of the chess metaphor, but
I do play chess. But I will say, that I agree that I think the Eagles have the more talented army. Because they're going into battle. I think they have more players where you're like, if you tried to make like your all-star team from just those two teams combined, and you had to pick like, oh, I need a quarterback, I need a running back, I need a receiver, defense, offensive line, whatever.
Yeah,
you're picking mostly Eagles players. I mean, I don't think that it would be close. I think most of your people, like the O-line, the defense, wide receivers, tight end, quarterback. Well, not tight end, quarterback.
That's
like,
the one. Maybe not quarterback and maybe not tight end, and that's it.
but everything else, like all the running backs, receivers, the defense, the kickers, everybody. You love all those
kicker,
people.
kicker. Yeah, I would say
Butker's better.
And I also think their punter is better too. Yeah, I mean, I think Butker is like
because he doesn't hit the line.
I have heard though that the Eagles punter may be coming off IR. Our original punter, he's like this Australian guy, this rugby punter guy. So he's like one of those guys that runs. I don't know if he still does it, but yeah, apparently he might be coming off IR because our punter has not been great, but he hasn't been. He's been enough because we don't punt a ton. So I'm not too worried about it, but it would be kind of cool to get him back.
Is that Aaron Sipos? What the heck is his name? Aaron Sipos?
Aaron Sipos, yeah.
That's a weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's Australian. I could be wrong.
It sounds Australian.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that narrative. I think the other big narrative is obviously the Kelce brothers. I mean, that's just awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's rare that you have like two star players that are brothers too. I think they're probably the biggest stars that are brothers in the league. Because
really?
Obviously
not the Diggs brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I think both of them are like the best at their position, and I think it's close,
a fair point.
Yeah, like Travis Kelce is like incredibly crucial to the offense, and I think Jason Kelce is honestly could be the most important player besides Jalen Hurts, because I don't know if you've seen some of like their schemes and their run schemes, but Jason Kelce is like the most crucial part of them, because essentially he'll do a ton of pull blocks and he's the only center in the league that can do these because he's so quick that he'll run out and pull and essentially lead the running back, and he'll end up shoving like cornerbacks or linebackers, just completely pancaking them out of the way. And it's just really creative to watch. So I'm sure you'll see it, but essentially they'll shift like the other outside lineman in, and then he'll just kind of run around and lead whoever's running, whether it's Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hurts. So very, very crucial part of the offense. And I think it's going to be really fun to kind of just see those two brothers try to have their best games, you know?
Do you think it would be funny if somehow, some way, I know they're both on offense, so it should be impossible, but they've done it before where somehow they make it so, well, let's just say like they're going for a Hail Mary at halftime and they put Kelce in on defense as part of like the hands team to try to bat the ball down. But then he'll line up at the line of scrimmage for a second, just line up across from his brother, just for like a second. Like, I lined up across from my brother, and then he backs up into coverage or something.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl, I lined up across my brother. That would be funny.
Like, I know that ultimately winning the game is the most important thing, but I think love for the sport and for like the family of it all, even like when you just consider teammates your brother.
Yeah.
I hope they think about that side as well and try to do fun stuff like that. Like when Diggs brothers went against each other in the Pro Bowl and like were like actually like hitting each other and stuff like stuff like that. I really enjoy, and I think it'd be great if maybe even at the end of the game it's a blowout and they just run like the kneel downs and you put Kelce out there on defense just to line up across from his brother, snapping the last couple plays so he can be there to hug him and say, congratulations, you won. You know what I mean? It's like something like that.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I just hope they think of stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and the thing is too, I think they're like super close. Like compare it.
Yeah, they have their podcast and everything.
Like, yeah, they have the podcast. They're just like super close, and I think it's just awesome. Obviously, Jason Kelce also was the Christmas album, the Eagles Christmas album, which was hilarious. But I think both of them are very likable, and you're kind of rooting for them. So it's going to be fun to see them go against each other, you know? Like, if there was a team to lose to, I think this would probably be the team because there's so much crossover between the two teams, Like, just because the coaching, like, mainly. Like, Andy Reid brought everyone with him, So
that is wild. But it's been so many years removed. It's not like they'll have any advantage of like, oh, I used to play in that. I used to run that offense. Or I used to run that defense. It's like 6-7 years removed.
Yeah, completely
it's a
different.
Complete overhaul. There's not any competitive advantage to like, oh, I used to coach that team. There's none of that going to be there. All the players are different. All the schemes are different. The playbooks are different. Everything is different.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a straight up like, may the best team win, and that's super exciting.
Now, I guess there is here's a fun fact that I'm almost certain you did not know. And that is that Travis Kelce got fined for criticism of the Super Bowl head referee, Carl Cheffers. So Travis Kelce got fined for criticizing him. And it's
now like that just happened?
No, it happened a while ago, but he got fined. He criticized the Carl Cheffers. And this is exactly what he said. Referee number 51 shouldn't even be able to wear a zebra jersey ever again. He shouldn't even be able to work at a fucking Foot Locker. So,
do you remember when Kelce got flagged and he picked up the flag and like threw it back at the referee?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Kelce definitely used to be a hothead. I'll just say that. He still
now he seems like a super. Yeah. But now he mostly just seems like all of his interviews, well, except for last week when he was like,
"Oh yeah,
well, we don't have to get into it." Yeah. But it was funny because they were trying to call Arrowhead Burrowhead, so he was just defending his territory. But he did get caught up a little bit. But it was funny. So
yeah, and I think it is funny. I'm sure that Carl Cheffers doesn't hold any resentment because it was a decent amount of years ago. But hey, maybe he does. Maybe he will give some calls in favor of the
Is
Eagles.
He refereeing this Super Bowl?
He is the head referee. So
no shot. Yeah. So if there's any bullshit calls against Kelce, we're just gonna like roll our eyes a little bit, like we know what that is.
Yeah, we know what that is. And iconically too, Carl Cheffers is known for throwing a lot of penalty flags as well. So something to keep in mind if there are a lot of penalty flags, especially against the Chiefs. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
That is a very interesting. The brothers going against each other, like the coaches that used to work for each other. It's sort of giving me shades of when the Ravens played the Niners in the Super Bowl, and they were head coached by John and Jim Harbaugh. Like, how wild is that? Like, two brothers coach NFL teams, and they meet in the Super Bowl. Two players are like the best player on their team. Essentially, they meet in the Super Bowl. Like, what are the chances that this sort of stuff keeps happening? But I love it. I think that those make for great stories. I'm excited.
Oh, definitely. I'm very excited. I think since that Super Bowl between the Harbaugh brothers, this might compete with the narratives, because there's so many.
It's close.
Yeah, the big narratives and on like key people.
Correct. This could be more important because it's not just. Back then, it was just that the coaches were brothers. Now it's players are brothers. Coaches used to work for each other. Conflict with the referee. Like, you add it all up, there's a lot of moving pieces that seems like it'll be more than just a football game happening out there. It's not just a football game. It's like a full-on chess match, like you compared it to earlier.
Yeah,
it should be on paper one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in a while. I hope it doesn't let us down. I think it has an opportunity to be an amazing game.
I agree. I fully agree.
Let's do it. Come on.
Now, the one thing...
Fly, Eagles, fly.
On the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you know the whole thing.
Hit them high and watch the Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. EAGLES, Eagles. Woo!
Dang, I did not know you knew the whole thing. That's awesome.
Started.
Good for I did. I didn't expect you to go with the whole thing. Good for you. That's funny.
Well, as a Dallas hater, I actually do have to say I'm sorry for all the hate this season because they did officially make it to the Super Bowl. And by that, I mean Dallas Goedert made the Super Bowl because Dallas did actually technically make the Super Bowl this year. So
Dallas made the Super Bowl. Yep, congratulations. Jesus Christ. I knew that was coming because I saw that meme on Facebook and I was like, as a Cowboys fans can finally rejoice. Dallas made the Super Bowl. And then you scroll down and it's a picture of Dallas Goedert. And I was like, oh, you bastards. Oh, Jesus. I mean, one of these days it's going to be held in their stadium, and that's going to be like the most tragic thing ever. These people who live near the stadium are just at home, like, I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. They let us down again, but then you can hear like the parades and fireworks in the streets.
Imagine if the Eagles playing too. That would be.
Oh my God, they'd burn the stadium down. They wouldn't even let the game. Yeah. They wouldn't even let the game be held. Oh,
it would be like have you seen those clips of Joey Bosa watching the Niners last week? Oh my gosh.
No, what did he do?
It was so funny. The Eagles fans were literally roasting because Joey Bosa showed up to the Eagles game. He literally went to the stadium and the Eagles fans were giving him crap all the game. It was so funny. They were just shouting, "Hey Joey! Hey Joey, you're why are you not playing, Joey? What's going on?" Just like stuff like that. It was so funny because it's obviously he's rooting for Nick Bosa, so it's like obviously he's wearing Niners stuff and we're gonna root against him. But it was just funny that they were taking shots at Joey too. It was really funny.
No, it's brutal.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, well, I guess. We can actually move on to talking about the game. I think we covered all the narratives. Did you have any that you wanted to bring up?
I just want to remind everybody that I have ultimate jinxing powers, and anything I say with confidence that will happen, the opposite happens. So my predictions will be as if I am walking on a tightrope, watching every word. Be careful.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess the thing we can start off with is that the Eagles are 1.5 point favorites right now. I don't know. I'm a little surprised because I thought that the majority of the sports media and stuff were going to come out and say that Kansas City is favorites. But I guess I'm glad that's not the case. I'm excited to see this game. I think it will be close, but I don't think there is a chance that the Chiefs blow out the Eagles. I think that is unlikely because I think the Chiefs defense is not good enough to hold down the Eagles offense. And there's a chance that the Eagles defense holds down Kansas City's offense, but I think it's more likely that it's going to be high scoring, maybe have some turnovers. We'll see. What do you kind of think will be the scoring-wise in this game?
I would just like to ask you one question, sir.
Yeah.
Because you just said that you think the Eagles defense can stop the Chiefs offense. I would like you to list for me right now 3 players that you're afraid of on Kansas City's offense. And I said 3 for a very specific reason, because I know 2 of them. But I beg you to name the third.
Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Don't be a troll. Think of an actual third player where you're like, oh, that guy can make a difference. Versus your defense.
Half joking because I'm not actually scared of him, but I'm naming him because I think he's the third most scared player on the team right now. Because
that's my point.
Pretty hot in the playoffs.
That's my point. Your guys' pass rush is insane. So if you just double Kelce, get to Mahomes with his hobbly, broken ankle, there's no I think about it. That defense is going to eat Mahomes alive.
Yeah, and that was actually my next note was that if the Eagles can score on offense, I don't see how Kansas City can keep up with them.
They cannot keep up.
Yeah.
I got to be careful to say too much.
Yeah.
But I agree. If the score gets to a certain point, I would say it is out of reach.
Yeah. And I mean, with Mahomes' injury, I agree that the pass rush will be rough for the Chiefs. I think they're going to be blitzing a lot and just be getting in the backfield. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see.
and if they blitz from the outside in, and don't let him do that whole rollout magic where he gets the ball away at the sideline at the last second. If they can keep him inside,
yeah,
it's a wrap. Because he's not as mobile. He can't just take off sprinting up the middle of the field. He's not going to take that chance. He's not going to take that hit. So if you keep him in the pocket, oh my God, they're going to eat him alive.
That's the goal.
My humble opinion.
Your humble opinion. That's kind of what I'm thinking the game will play. I guess fantasy-wise, who do you think will be scoring? Obviously, Travis Kelce.
I think Kelce is a lock. He just always finds a way.
Yeah.
I also believe that Hurts and Sanders have an equal chance to plug in. Like if they're anywhere within like the 15 to 10 yard line, either one of them can get the ball and make it happen. They proved it all season long.
Do you think Gainwell will get a bunch of yards like he's been getting?
I think he'll get catches, right?
Yeah.
He'll get a couple receptions. It's hard. I think, like, what do we usually compare it to? A dart throw? Because you got Gainwell, Sanders, and sort of Boston Scott.
Yeah.
All scoring, all seeming to be in there at important times. I think it's hard to choose which one will do it.
Yeah.
But I also think Devontae Smith is a good shout for a touchdown scorer, assuming that they incorrectly decide that A.J. Brown is the greater threat and focus more attention on him. You don't want Devontae Smith in single coverage either. So how do you choose? Who do you cover? Do you double Goddard? Do you double Brown, Smith? Do you have somebody spying the backfield for the RPO? You guys have too many options. How do you cover all of it? How do you defend against all of it? It's impossible, right? I mean...
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Without making it sound like it's going to be a super easy game, which technically is my opinion. I'll just be honest. I think that we'll know very early who the winner's going to be. We'll put that out there.
I disagree, mainly because I think the Eagles have been slow on offense too. In like both the last two games, they haven't got off to the hottest starts. I mean, the Giants, I guess they did kind of get up early, but once they like those first or second drives after they're past those two, they slow down a ton. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm hoping they can come out of the gates right away and just score a ton. And I know obviously the Niners defense is not, and even the Giants defense are better than the Chiefs defense. But that said, I'm definitely a little worried still. It's still Mahomes. And I think that's why I'm scared, is because it's Mahomes. And Andy Reid, like probably one of the best quarterback coaching duos in a while. And that's kind of what I'm scared of. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if the Eagles do pull off to a huge lead, then I'll be incredibly happy. Still nervous, still thinking and having flashbacks to Atlanta versus New England, but I'll be very happy.
Can I counter your argument about how they seem to take their foot off the gas at certain points in the game by reminding you of a conversation we had earlier in the podcast that they're the highest scoring team in the NFL. If you're saying that they take their foot off the gas and they still scored the most points of any team, that should make you feel pretty darn good. I just want to try to quell your stress a little bit that they're still putting up a ton of points even though you feel like they take it easy.
That is true. Very true.
So hopefully Maybe that'll make you. It won't make you feel better because you're just a skeptical fan with a team in the Super Bowl. So there's literally nothing besides the final whistle that'll make you feel better. Like the game has to be over before you're. I know. Even if they're winning like 30 to nothing at halftime.
Yeah, unless they're up by like 21 points with 6 minutes left or something.
I know it. I don't even have to ask that question. I'd be the same way. I'd be the same way if my team was the one in it. 100%.
Awesome. Well, I'm not sure if there's that much more to say about the game, honestly. So, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
Oof. Can I do it? All right. I'm gonna make a prediction of the score, but I'm not gonna say who I think each score belongs to. You just have to use the context of everything else I've said in the episode and make that leap for yourself. Is that allowed? Do you think that would be jinxy?
I think you're okay with that.
That you think that's okay? Okay.
I think it's okay.
I believe that one team will score 24 points.
Okay.
No, sorry. Let's go with 17. Okay. 17 points. And the other team will score 31 points.
Okay.
That is my prediction.
Interesting. All right. Well, you heard Scotty's prediction of the Chiefs winning here first. I guess it is now time for Ask Anissa, where I ask my wife Anissa a fantasy football question, and she knows nothing about football. So, Anissa.
Yeah.
Which of these players will score more fantasy points in the Super Bowl? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, or Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce.
All right, lock it in, Travis Kelce. Now let's play What's Your Prop? Where we pick 3 prop bets for the other person. We'll pick a side. We'll keep track of our records and then be publicly punished on the show at the end of the year, which will be next week, actually. So, or 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. Last week, I went 3-0, and I finally beat Scotty because he also went 3-0. So I didn't actually beat him. We tied again. I can never, ever beat you, no matter what. So, Scotty, you're now 28-14. However, I finally did it. I'm 21-21. I have broken even. I'm 50-50. I have caught back up. So
that is some Mike Tomlin consistency there, Mr.
Yeah, 500. Exactly.
Well, you still have to go. You have to go 2-1. You have to go 2-1 this week. You're not 500 yet. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Do you want a 4th prop this week to give you that extra chance to beat me in case we both go undefeated? You can still get 4-0.
I'm good.
You don't want it. Okay, that was a serious offer. You could have said yes.
We'll do fair. Yeah, I've gone more troll with my picks anyway, so it's fine. We'll right, go straight.
I'm gonna go with over option 1.
Okay.
I feel like you asked me one question for sure where you did a player versus a player. I don't know your picks, but I know one of them is.
My first question. I know it. I had to switch it from carries to touches because now I'm asking more touches, Isaiah Pacheco or Jerick McKinnon.
Okay, option 1 as promised.
Isaiah Pacheco. All right.
Did you switch the order that you read them to me based on knowing that I was
did not
do option 1? Okay,
I literally just changed the word. I have the same text. I just changed carries to touches. That was it.
You just changed it right now.
No, like from last week. Last week it was more carries, and then this week I changed only the word carries to touches because
once you throw in receptions, McKinnon obviously.
Yeah, that's why I did it because it's closer.
Yeah, but Pacheco's still getting like 14 rushes per game, something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of been crazy. All right, well,
still give me Pacheco. I'm not changing it.
All right, what is your first pick for me, Scotty?
All right. I finally can't ask you a Christian McCaffrey question. I know you're so excited about that. I've asked you like 4 or 5 times Christian McCaffrey, but he's not there. So we are going to go with a player versus player. Just decide it right now.
Okay.
Kelsey versus Goddard. I have to ask questions that are going to hurt your heart. Who has more receptions?
Kelsey.
Oh, you don't care?
No, I don't.
I thought you were.
Goddard is the one player.
You were gonna be like, oh, I can't. I was like, oh, I can't pick. I can't pick against my guy. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
I'll go with Kelsey.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Right. Well, my second pick is completely arbitrary, because it is Devontae Smith over or under 0.5 amazing catches. Will he have an amazing catch?
Now, question.
Yeah.
I need a qualifier here because technically his catch on fourth down last week was quote unquote an amazing catch because it was ruled as such. Are we going by the rules of the game?
Is it still amazing because he? I mean, yes, it's technically a catch, but I don't think it's amazing because he dropped it. You know? Do you see what I'm saying?
But do we? Yeah, I get what you're saying. There's like a little bit of a subjectiveness, but do we go based on if it's ruled a catch in the game? That's the only thing we care about, or can we look at it afterwards and be like, "Oh, that doesn't count because it wasn't a catch"? Like our standards are higher than theirs.
Well, I think it's more the amazing word. Like, yes, it's still a catch, but it's not amazing if it
because he didn't actually pull it off.
Yeah. So if he actually pulled it off, then obviously, oh wow, that was amazing. But if he didn't actually pull it off, it's like, that's not really as amazing because he didn't actually pull it off. So
this will be fun to.
Yeah.
this will be fun. This will be fun to argue about next time.
Yeah.
You know what? Just for the fun of. I want to be on the pro catch side when we have this discussion later, like trying to win my case about why it was an amazing catch. Like that's an easier side of the argument to win. Give me the over. I said over.
Give me the over. All right.
So.
Awesome.
What's your? He's prone to make some pretty spectacular plays. I don't feel too stressed out to say that. Okay.
It's the Heisman energy.
All right.
What is your second pick for me? Do you have an arbitrary one, or
I just made it up right
normal?
now. I just made it up right now because we compared kickers and who you said that you think Buster is one of the best kickers, not just in the game but potentially in the league. So doesn't matter who kicks it. Will there be a 50-yard or more field goal in the Super Bowl?
Ooh, okay.
A 50-yard attempt would count. 50 or more. Yes or no?
I don't think so. I think they're going to be going for it on fourth and short. I think it's unlikely that they kick a 50-yard field goal. So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, my last pick for you is also another arbitrary one. And that is... will the refs have 1.5 bad calls? So will they have 2 or less than 1.5?
Oh, geez. You know what? I'm more comfortable with this one than the spectacular catch because we mostly agree when we think that the referees messed up. We usually have the same opinions on that.
Yeah.
Over 1.5, just bad calls. Like they missed the delay game or they missed the holding. Like how nitpicky are we getting here?
I think if we notice that they miss a call,
bullshit,
if they
miss pass interference or so big penalties only like pass interferences, holding
like a
down
sack,
the field.
Bad sack, and they're probably not. I'm not saying that you should pull up the all 24 cameras on NFL and like analyze every play, but like if it's like noticeably on the broadcast. Where it's like you see a penalty, they call it, and there's like you're like, what the heck are they thinking? Like that was not a penalty, stuff like that. Where it's like,
can we also go the other way?
Yeah.
If there was like a clear like pass interference and they let it go, like they didn't call it, like can we go both ways? Is it a bad call if they miss a call or if they make a bad call?
Missed or make a bad call. Give me
the over. What are we talking about?
Over. All right, over.
We're gonna
over 1.5 bad calls.
That's going to be a lot of fun to talk about, actually.
Yeah. Well.
All
Awesome.
right. This last one is going to, because you've been saying a lot of, I just thought of this right now. Because
All
you've
right.
been saying a lot of like, oh, they'll go for it. They don't want to do a lot of field goals. It could be a close game, yada yada. Yes or no?
Okay.
Will there be an onside kick attempted in the Super Bowl?
You know what? I'm gonna have to
Attempted.
say no.
Does not have to be recovered.
I don't think so. I don't think there will be.
Dang. I thought we sort
I
of
know.
described a narrative that would support an onside kick. I'm surprised.
Well, the Chiefs have to score
Eagle-
to be able to score, get an onside
like
kick.
Eagles up by a certain team up by 10. The other team drives and scores and only has a couple seconds left and they need to get the ball back, like that sort of situation. I don't think it will be that close of a game. Okay, maybe that's a bad question. Now that I just explained it to myself, I actually think the answer is also no. Okay, whatever. You get the free pick. Okay.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be surprised. Anyway, do you have a surprise
bonus?
segment for me?
No, but I was going to ask if you want to make a bonus pick. Guess the
No.
toss.
The coin toss? Let's both do the coin toss. Yeah, let's both do a coin toss. All right.
All right.
Say what you're picking in 3, 2, 1. Heads.
Tails. Oh, we were different.
Okay.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Yeah. There we go.
All right.
All right.
No, I don't have anything.
No surprise segment. All right.
Nah, I could never. I literally ran out of like interesting stuff. And
that is fine.
since I admitted that I ran out of interesting stuff, it makes it a lot harder to get away with it. Obviously.
I'm sure. I guess we did forget to talk about Sean Payton going to the Broncos, so we can talk about that real quick. You heard about that, I'm assuming, correctly?
We talked about that, correct? And we also
Yes.
talked about how the Broncos gave up their only remaining first-round pick that they had to make that deal happen. So not only did they have like one of the worst seasons out there, they don't have any first-round picks to try to make up for it. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm at least a little more excited about Russell Wilson, but
A little.
I think there's at least hope,
Jeez Louise, I'm bored. That's how bad the Broncos are.
All right, well, I guess on that
think
note.
No. I think that there is an opportunity. There's a good probability that Peyton can bring in a good culture, especially if he brings in like his own team. Like you said, Andy Reid when he left Philly. If he brings in his own guys and he knows what everyone is capable of and he knows he can get that winning culture,
yeah,
there is an opportunity for him to rally the troops and bring out everybody's like true potential sort of situation. Like, you guys weren't playing to your full ability for whatever reason. We're gonna forget about that. It's a new year, it's a new season, new coach, new everything. Let's go out there and show them what we're capable of. We should predict their record
You want to predict the Broncos record right now?
next year. Yeah,
All right.
without looking up their schedule.
Yeah, without looking it up, I'm gonna say
6-11.
9-8.
I don't have as much hope as you. I think it'll take at least, because they don't have the draft picks, I think it'll take more than one off season to turn it around. But we'll see.
I think it will get worse if they don't figure out next year. Like, I think next year will be their best year in the next like 3 or 4 years. So
you think next year, if they don't have a good year, it's like, oh, they're screwed for like the next 5, sort of like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brutal. Okay, that's exciting. We'll see.
We'll see.
We did this with Jeff Saturday, and where I guessed 2 and you guessed 0, and he won 1, right? So
yeah,
we literally split it down.
Even though he won literally the first week, he literally won the first week
right away, and then went. And then he went like,
"There's
oh,
no way I'm
7.
winning this." Yeah.
Yeah, then you just get a push.
So,
it was ridiculous.
It was really funny.
I was like, oh, he already won 1. I have to win this, and then
and then he almost beat the Eagles too. It was like, what the heck?
Oh Jesus, yeah. I think didn't he beat the Chiefs his first week coaching? Was that right? Or was that?
No, I think it was like some bad team. Yeah, I don't remember.
Maybe it was like Houston.
I could be
or
wrong,
something,
but yeah, I thought it was
well,
Houston.
we're probably wrong. Oh well.
Awesome. Well, I guess it is now time for your strong opinion of the day. Are you ready, Scotty?
Ooh, let's hear it.
My strong opinion of the day is that big Super Bowl parties suck.